Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sociology Analytica. This is Pooja Prasanna, your Sociology faculty. So let's go with our question for the day. The question is, what are comparative methods and how did Weber utilize comparative methods in his study of capitalism? So it's a 10-marker question. Okay, so the question is about comparative methods. Which we would be studying in our research methodology. So that content is there. But the second part of this question is, how did Weber utilize comparative method in his study of capitalism? See, though I know that most of you might have not studied Weber by now, or in case if you have already done with the class, you might have at least known who Weber is and about his study of capitalism. See, the reason why I have given this question is because most of the time what they do is they try to combine two different chapters and then they'll give as one question. Especially if you have seen the previous 2 to 3 years question, this is what UPSC is, this is how the UPSC is setting the question. They'll combine two different chapter question and then they'll give it as one question. Okay. So the question is comparative methods, which is pretty simple. That is, what is comparative method? That we will write it in the introduction. Okay. So the introduction will be the definition or what is comparative method. So I have taken a simple definition that comparative method involves the use of comparison. That's very simple. So what they will be comparing? They will be comparing different societies or group of people with one or more society or one or more different group of people. So they'll be comparing any two or more entity. Okay. And it's not just they'll be comparing two or more entity, they'll also be trying to compare with two or different point of time also. That is, you may compare, let's say, India pre-independence and India with post-independence, or India with pre-independence to India at present time. Okay, so this is nothing but comparative study. So here in comparative study, it is used to isolate variables. So whichever variables you want to understand. So let's say you are studying the whole of society. You don't have to compare the whole of society. What you can do is you can isolate rest of the variables, and whichever variables you want to understand, you want to study, you can only study those particular variables. Okay, so why do we usually use comparative study? We usually use comparative study in order to uncover the cause of the social phenomena, or in order to uncover the cause effect understanding, the cause and effect phenomena. In order to understand the cause of any social phenomena, we usually go for comparative study. See, this much is quite enough for this particular topic, for this particular question. So we are covering the first part of the question. Now going to the second part of the question. So you must be knowing, so the question is, how did Weber use comparative study in his study of capitalism? So you should know that where did Weber study capitalism? Weber studied capitalism in his concept, that is in his book, that is Protestant Ethic and Spirit of Capitalism. So this was a book which was released by Weber. So in this book, he has studied about capitalism and how did the Protestant ethics, how did the Protestants' lifestyle lead to the emergence of capitalism. So this is what he studies. So when you study this in detail, you'll understand. So that you'll understand that how he uses comparative study. So what Weber do? Weber wants to study that Protestantism as a system of idea. Okay, Protestantism is a system of idea which actually gave to one more system of idea. What is that? The spirit of capitalism. Eventually leading to what? The creation of a capitalistic economic society. So what he says is that spirit was already there. Okay, for the emergence of capitalism in European society, the spirit was already there. For that spirit, so what was required? There's some lifestyle, some sort of ethical lifestyle was required. And who had that sort of lifestyle? Protestant Christians had that sort of lifestyle, which eventually led for the emergence of capitalistic society. So this was an observation which was made by Weber. And further, see, let's not go too much in detail about all these things, or he also studies through ideal type. Okay, what he does, he draws the comparison. He draws ideal type of P here is Protestantism, and then he makes an ideal type of capitalism. Okay, see, let's not go in detail because the question is not about Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism. The question is completely different altogether. They are asking how is comparative study used to study capitalism by Weber. So I'm just drop a single line mentioning that Weber draws comparison of ideal type of Protestants and ideal type of capitalism. Now what you have to do is, now after this, write in detail how did he compare. Okay, how did he compare? So what you can do is take some ideal type, characteristic of Protestantism in one, and then how did he compare that with of the capitalism. So this is how you need to write. So here I have taken few points. The first is doctrine of predestination, that is a ideal type of what, that is a characteristic of Protestantism. So this basically led to what? So let the Protestants think that, you know, anyway our destination is not, we don't know what the destination is. So it has already been decided, okay, whether we'll go to hell or heaven, it has already been decided, it is predestined. So what we can do is how we can live in our life, that is to prove if we have a success in this world. So we don't know who has been selected, and if we show success in this world, maybe we might be selected. So that is the concept of chosen one. Okay, so this made them to work more, and in capitalist society also they wanted someone to work more. So this is one thing. The second is aestheticism. So aestheticism is basically not having a luxurious materialistic lifestyle. So they believed in saving, okay, they believed in saving, or they believed in giving or giving offerings to the god. So even the capitalism also wanted saving, they wanted savings and they wanted reinvestment. So both of them had a similar characteristic. Next is notion of calling. Notion of calling, that someone, like, you know, someone who is successful in this world. In this world is when you are born on the earth, whosoever is successful, whosoever has proved that he is the best person, you know, would have a chance of going to the heaven. Okay, so this actually led them to be a hardworking people, and even capitalist society also needed hardworking people. The next is rejection of holidays. Catholics had too much of extravagant holidays, too much of extravagant festivals. So Protestants did not believe in all these things. What did they do? They believe in, you know, that is work is worship. They sort of had work is worship phenomena principle. So they believed in working more than taking holidays and, you know, celebrating festivals. So this is also was one of the key characteristic of what capitalistic society. Even capitalistic society wanted people to work long hours in the factory. And then finally I've taken attitude towards loan. Even attitude towards loan. See, previously, that is in Catholics, they believe that, you know, one should not give loan or one should not even take loan. Taking loan or giving loan was almost equivalent to sin. But then they changed the attitude towards the loan. So what they believe, so when you start taking loan, when you start taking money, so they started investing in somewhere else, because they were very hardworking people. Okay. So this also kind of helped for the capitalistic society to build up. Understand? So pick up those topics, those points where he has compared the Protestant ideal type of Protestant ethics, and he has compared that to that of the ideal type of capitalism. Understand? See, he doesn't stop here. He just doesn't stop here. He actually continues his he further continues his comparative study. So let's talk about that in the next slide. So what he does after comparing Protestantism and then ideal type of capitalism, he wanted to validate his study. Okay, he draws a conclusion. He draws a cause and effect that yes, Protestant ethics, the ethics of Protestantism or the lifestyle of Protestantism led, you know, to the emergence of capitalism in European society. So he makes a conclusion. So in order to validate this conclusion, what he'll do, he will compare the ideal type of capitalism with that of the various religion of the world. Okay, he will compare ideal type of capitalism to that of the various religion of the world. So which religion he will compare? He will compare ideal type of capitalism to the religion of China. He will compare, this is the book title. Okay, you can write with the book title, even if not, that is totally fine. And then he will compare the religion capitalism to that of what? Religion of India. He'll compare Hinduism in India, he'll compare Jainism in India, and he'll also compare capitalism to that of the Judaism. Okay, after comparing all these various religions of the world, he will come to the conclusion that why, see, in every religion he will point out why religion could not be established. Okay, for example, in Hinduism there was too much of spiritualism, there was too much of collectivism, etc., etc. There was a thinking of punarjarma, dharma, etc., etc. So because of all these things, so there was no as such the spirit of capitalism. So like this, you just mention in one statement, one or two statement, that is more than sufficient. And then finally you can conclude that this is how Weber has used comparative study in order to study capitalistic society in Europe. Okay, so if you write this much, that is more than sufficient. But what you have to do is you have to see, you have to make sure to give this comparison first, you also have to write a little bit about this comparison also. So this makes the holistic answer. Did you all understand? It's a very simple question. Only thing is, I am taking third, that is research method, sorry, I am taking thinkers chapter and putting that in the research methodology chapter. Okay, I hope you have understood how to write this answer. It's a pretty simple question. In case if you have any queries, please drop them in the comment section. Okay, thank you so much.